Hello, my name is Confident and welcome to Agrilentex Mathematics N3 April 2018 question paper and answers. In this particular session, we are going to look at the paper that was written on the April 2018 and we are going to provide the solution for this question. Now, please note that no part of this video may be reproduced in any form, so avoid copyright issues. Should you request this particular video, please feel free to request it from our website, in which we are going to provide the details. And also please note that errors may be present in this memorandum, and then should there be any errors that you are going to note, it is not the responsibility of the Department of Higher Education and Training. However, the errors were made by the person who made this memo. In this case, it is me. So should you find any errors or should you pick up any errors in this memorandum, please feel free to suggest some additions and then we'll make the necessary changes. Now let's look at this particular question again. I said this paper is the mathematics in N3 and it was written on the 26th of March 2018 in the morning, and it was a 3-hour paper. Now let us look at the first question that was asked in the question. Now, as you can see, the first one always talks about is algebraic expressions. In this case, it is factorization. So the students were asked to factorize as far as possible. It means that if you factorize and you don't factorize fully, you are going to lose marks. So you have to factorize as far as possible into prime factors. Now, each question was worth 3 marks. So now let's start with the first one, the 1.1.1. They gave us 5x to the power 4 minus 5y to the power of 8. Now remember, we're factorizing into prime factors. What are we noting that is common? The first thing that is common is a 5. So you can take a 5 and you're going to have x to the power 4 minus y to the power of 8. If you leave your answer like this, you might get maybe a mark, but sometimes you might not even get a mark because the question says as far as possible. Now what you need to recognize is this power 4 and the power of 8. Now these can form a difference of 2 squares in this form. So you've got 5. If you take out, put a bracket and say x squared, and then you come here and say y to the power 4, and then again you say x squared, and then it's not y to the power 4 actually. Yes, y to the power 4 is fine because half of 8 is 4, half of 4 is 2. So x squared y to the power 4. Now if I put a negative there and I put a positive here, if you expand this bracket, we are going to get exactly the top. Now, as you can see, we use the difference of 2 squares to simplify x to the power 4 minus y to the power of 8. But also to notice is this x squared minus y to the power 4 is not fully factorized. It is also another difference of 2 squares. So what you get is 5. Again, when you simplify it, you get xy squared, and then again you get xy squared. Now the other one is a negative, the other one is a positive, and then you finish up with the x squared plus y to the power of 4. Now when you look at this final solution, now what we have done is we have factorized 5x to the power 4 minus 5y to the power of 8 into prime factors, and you have gone as far as possible. So this is the solution that they expected. Now the next question that they expected you to answer, it was this particular question. It says 15x squared y squared minus 25xy cubed minus 10y to the power 4. It says factorize as far as possible. Now if I can rewrite that, what we have, if you look at this problem that they gave us, now the first thing again to look at what is common is to check the numbers. Now if you look at 15, 25 and 10, what is common is 5. 5 can get into 15, into 25, and 10. And also, what you can see that is common is there is x squared, y, x, y cubed, and y. You can see that y is repeating itself in all the three different expressions, which means we can take out y. Now, if we're taking out y, but we have to ask ourselves, which power of y are we going to choose? You can see there is y squared, there is the y cubed, and the y to the power 4. You take the smallest power, in this case it is y squared. Now if you take out that, what you're going to have, 5 is like you're dividing 5y squared into the three expressions. So if you take off 5 into 15, you're going to get a 3. Y squared into x squared, y squared, you are remaining with x squared, minus 5 into 25, you are going to get a 5, and you are dividing y squared into xy cubed, you are going to get xy. 1y will remain, minus 5 into 10, you'll get a 2, y squared into y to the power 4, you'll get y squared if you're dividing. If you continue with it, now you're going to have your 5y squared. Now if you factorize this, I'm going to show you how I arrived, but if you factorize this, what you're going to have is you're going to have 3x plus y, and you're going to have x minus 2y. So when they were marking you 3 marks, mainly they will be looking for you that did you identify the 5y squared, did you identify the 2 other brackets. But now someone might ask, how did you get these other 2 brackets? Let me work on it. It's 3x squared minus 5xy minus 2y squared. I used the product, sum, and factors method. Now how did I use it? This is what I usually do. The first, I look at the product. This is my product. The center one is plus, which is my sum. So this is my product, this is my sum, and my factors. My product are the 2 numbers which I multiply, the first one and the last one. I get minus 6x squared y squared, and the sum is the center number, which is minus 5xy. And the factors, 2 numbers which when I multiply, I get minus 5. I get negative 6. Product, remember, is multiplication. When I multiply, I get minus 6. And when I add them, which is my sum, I get minus 5. The 2 numbers are negative 6 and a negative 1. A positive 1. If I say negative 6 plus positive 1, I get a minus 5. And negative 6 times a positive 1, I get a negative 6. So when I rewrite it, I'm going to write now 3x squared minus, instead of minus 5x, now I write minus 6xy, and then plus 1xy, the other factor, minus 2y squared. I look at the first 2 numbers and factorize, and look at the last 2 numbers and factorize. So if the first 2 numbers, I have got 3x. Now looking at 3x, I have got x, 3 into 6 is minus 2y, plus y is common there, which is x minus 2y. Now if I continue now, what is in the bracket is similar, which is x minus 2y. What is outside the bracket is 3x and plus y. So I'll write it as 3x plus y. Now if you look at it, this is the same brackets that I got, that I managed to put as 3x plus y, x minus 2y as part of the solution. Now if you need more of this product sum method, I've got a lesson on N3 mathematics of these videos where I explain it further. You can go to our website and request for more of these videos, but of course they're going to cost you a fraction of a price compared to what you're going to benefit from them. Now let us move on to look at the other question that they asked. That is question number 1.2. Now 1.2.1, what they asked was simplify the following algebraic expressions. Now the first one is 3 marks. They wanted you to simplify x squared minus y squared over x squared minus 2xy plus y squared. Now there are many ways you could have approached this particular problem, but as I said, I'm going to be brief and straightforward to the answer. Now the top one, you can see that is a difference of two squares in which you have got x minus y and x plus y, and then over, similarly to the previous problem that I did when I used the product and sum method, when you factorize the bottom one, you will have x minus y and x minus y. In other ways, it's like you have got x minus y twice. So what you can do, you can see that the top part, you have got x minus y, as well you can cancel with one of the x minus y, and what you're going to remain with is equal to x plus y over x minus y. So this was the solution that they expected, and you get 3 marks. Again, how will you get your 3 marks? By factorizing, they'll give a mark on top, a mark below, and the final answer they'll give a mark. Now the next question is, you are supposed to factorize, you're supposed to simplify these algebraic fractions, and then I'm going to rewrite them and we look at the solution. Again, as you can see, it's it's 2 over a minus b divided by 4 over a squared minus b squared times 5 over 6a plus 6b. Now if you look at this problem that we're given, now there are few things that you can take advantage already, that you can observe. Now what am I observing? This is a difference of two squares, a squared minus b squared, which is also captured in the previous question that they asked, x squared minus y squared. So you can see that they are still repeating a concept of the difference of two squares, which is common. And also what you can see here, what you have is 6a plus 6b. You can see that 6 is common, so we can take out 6 in this particular fraction. Here we'll use the concept of a difference of two squares. And lastly, we have got a division sign. Now when we change a division sign into a multiplication sign, it means this a squared minus b squared will go on top and the 4 will go below, but also it is a difference of two squares. So if I can write it much quicker without wasting time, I will have now a over a minus b. I'll put it times. Now the a squared minus b squared is on top, but remember it's a difference of two squares. It's a minus b and it's a plus b. Remember it's a difference of two squares, but it's on top. I divide that by 4 times 5 over, again we said 6 was common, you will have a plus b. Now because the way they structure this question, they know that some of the things on top will always cancel the things at the bottom, in which case the things on top in a fraction are called the numerator. So some of the items in the numerator will cancel some of the items in the denominator, which is the bottom. As you can see in this case, a minus b and a minus b is cancelling, and as well using another color, a plus b and a plus b is cancelling. And then is there any other thing else that is cancelling? Or we can actually look at the numbers if ever there is nothing. Is there anything that is cancelling? Actually it's not a, I think I rewrote this wrong. It was 2 over a minus b. Let me correct that. So it's not a, it's 2 over a minus b. So if I can correct that, there is a 2. These are mistakes sometimes that usually happen when students start writing their own questions, because of the exam. So it's a 2 there. So now you can cancel out, but I prefer to write it what is remaining there. I've got a, I can cancel out a 2 there. 2 into a 2 is 1. 2 into a 4 is a 2. So what will I be having now? I have got 1 on top times, what is on top of this fraction? 1 remained, times 5 over at the bottom is 1 times a 2 remained times a 6. If you use your calculator to simplify this, you're going to get 5 over 12. So this was the final answer to that particular question. As I said, it was a mistake that I made by saying a instead of a 2. So this is one simple question. And how many marks was this? It was 4 marks. Now the major things that they expected from you in these 4 marks, if I can try to distribute the mark allocation, of course there is the final mark, but the final mark is only 1 mark. So if you forget about the working and just provide the final mark, or you work somewhere in a piece of paper or in the question paper and then you just don't show all the working, you might be penalized. So what are they going to give you? They will give you 1 mark for factorizing that top and 1 mark for factorizing that bottom, and simplifying everything they will give you a mark. So that makes it at the end of the day, like the cancelling and everything, they give you a mark, giving it a total of 4 marks in the end. Now let's look at the next question. It says, if I can erase there, we've done this question. And then if you look at this one, it says, if x minus 1 is a factor of f of x is equal to 2x cubed minus x squared minus 7x plus 6, determine the other factors. Now there is a simple fast method that I use. I'm going to show you here, and then I'm going to do the normal way of a long division. But let me show you the simple fast method that I usually use. Now the first one that you have to pick up, they're saying x minus 1. Already they tell you that x minus 1 is a factor. So x minus 1 is equal to 0. Therefore x is equal to 1. Then the next thing that I want you to do is to come up with a division sign like this. Now in this division sign, you come back to these coefficients of x cubed, x squared, x, and a number. You can see in x cubed you have a 2, minus in x squared there is a 1, in x there is minus 7. We are taking the sign, and the last one is a plus 6. So I was writing the numbers 2, 1, negative 7, and plus 6. Now we are going to divide that by this particular one that we were given as a factor. So you're going to divide by that one. So now, just to give it more space on top, remember here we said x was equal to a 1. So if I continue now, this 2 goes on top, you write it as it is. Now you must listen carefully to what I'm saying, because that's what you'll be doing with your calculator. You say 2 times this one, the one that you just, it's 2 times the one that you just were given. So it's 2 times this multiplies these 2. So it's 2 times 1 minus this 1. So 2 times 1, which is a 2, and then 2 minus 1, what do you have? It's plus 1. You move on again, the same thing that you did. Instead of a 2 now it's a 1. 1 times 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 minus 7 is negative 6. Same thing again. Minus 6 times 1 is minus 6. Minus 6 plus 6 is a 0. It must give you the last number as a 0 because it is a factor. So what you have here, you are going to have the first factor. Remember, it was x minus 1. You put it in brackets. The second factor, you have got a 2, you have got a 1, you have got minus 6. Now I want you to see what happens. The 2, you put an x squared, because it was a cubed, now it becomes a squared. In the 1, where there was an x squared, now you put an x. So it's 2x squared. Now the sign again, they said plus on top, 2 plus 1 minus 6. So it's 2x squared plus 1x minus 6. And then using the product sum method that we've been doing, you are going to have your x minus 1, and then also on the product sum method you are also going to have x plus 2, and you are going to have 2x minus 3. Now you are factorizing that using your normal product sum method, or any other way you are factorizing 2x squared plus 1x minus 6. So now the question was determine the other factors, which means the other factors are x plus 2 and 2x minus 3. So those were the other factors that they were talking about. So you get now your 5 marks. Now where do the 5 marks come from again? They will mark you in simplifying that. They will mark you obviously on the 2 answers, and they will give you 2 marks on that method. So now it's 5 marks in total. But now, as I said before, there is a long method that most of you are used to, the long division, that I want you to use. This is the alternative method, but it doesn't mean that the other one was wrong. So if they give you, remember they told you that x minus 1 was a factor. So we write our x minus 1 as a factor. Just want to give it enough space. X minus 1, and what we have, we are given 2x cubed minus x squared from that previous example. Remember, it was 2x cubed minus x squared minus 7x plus 6. So it was minus 7x plus 6. That's what they gave us. Now in the long division, remember, you say x into 2x cubed, you get 2x squared. Same thing, 2x squared times x is 2x cubed. And then 2x squared minus 1 is minus 2x squared. After that, what you do, you put a negative sign, put brackets, say over. Now when you subtract, you are going to get a 0 there. 2x cubed minus 2x cubed is 0. Minus x squared minus 2x squared, we are going to get a positive x squared. That's what you're going to get. Now you are going to bring down the 7x with its sign, so it's going to be minus 7x. Again, you repeat the same thing. X into x squared is a positive x. X times x is x squared. X times minus 1 is minus x. We're going to put a negative sign, put a bracket because you're subtracting, so that you respect the negative. X squared minus x squared, you're going to get a 0 again. And then minus 7x minus x, you're going to get a negative 6x in this case. After getting a negative 6x in that case, what are you bringing down? You're going to bring down the 6 with its sign, which is now a positive 6. Now again you repeat, x into minus 6, it's negative 6. Negative 6 times x is minus 6x. And negative 6 times negative 1 is a positive 6. You do the same thing again. You underline. Minus 6 minus 6 is a 0. 6 minus 6 it's a 0. So the last, if you get 0 in the last one, it's the answer that you must get, because remember they say it's a factor. So what we have now, we are going to have x minus 1, which was the first factor they gave you, and you are going to have 2x squared plus x minus 6. Now if you go backward to get this 2x squared minus x minus 6, you will notice that it is the number that I got on top here. As I say, it was 2 plus 1 minus 6, but here we say it is 2x squared plus x minus 6. So if you can use that, it is going to be another good method for you. Using your product sum, you will have then x minus 1 when you factorize, and then you are going to have your last one, which is 2x minus 3, and you are going to have now x plus 2. As you can see, this is the 2 answers. Now they say to factorize and write the other factors, which is your 2x minus 3 and your x plus 2. So these were the solutions that they expected from you. Now I'm going to finish up with these, and after this one I have to end up the lesson, because this is not a full version or the whole question paper. This is just an excerpt of the memorandum. If you want to get more of these, please send us an email. I'm going to give more details at the end of this lesson. Now let me finish up with question number 2. Now question number 2 says solve for x in the following equations. Now this is now the second question. It is solving for x. It's still algebra, but now we're solving for x. So what they've given us is 10 minus 3x minus x is equal to negative 2. It's not a difficult problem in this one, in the sense that the main thing there is to get rid of that square root. So what you have is square root of 10 minus 3x. This is the main thing to do, is equal to take the negative x to the other side of the equal sign. It will become a positive. It's good to start with x always. It will become a positive x minus 2, because x was negative. When it jumps, it becomes a positive x. Now, as I said, the next thing is to get rid of that square root. What you have now is 10 minus 3x. So how do? To get rid of the square root, you square both sides. Is equal to x minus 2. But remember, what we do on the left, we must do on the right. By doing that, remember, we are getting rid of that particular square root. So what you are going to have now is 10 minus 3x is equal to x minus 2 and x minus 2. Remember, it's x minus 2 squared. Now, just because I don't want to go to the next page, I'm going to try to solve this one on this same page. So what you're going to have here, as I said, it was 10 minus 3x is equal to, if you expand the right hand side, you're going to have x squared minus 2x minus 2x plus 4. Right? Now if you continue to do that, you're going to collect everything on one side, the like terms, and you're going to have now x squared minus 2x, everything on the same side, minus 2x, and then after that you're going to have plus 4 minus 10 is equal to a 0. And then you're going to have, now simplifying it, everything is going to be x squared now minus x minus 6 is equal to a 0. Now again, you can see that we're back to our quadratic expression. It's a product and sum. Now if you factorize, you're going to have here the two factors that needed there is x minus 3 and then x plus 2 is equal to 0. So you can see in this case now we're solving for x. X minus 3 is equal to 0. Therefore, x is equal to 3. Or x plus 2 is equal to 0. Therefore, x is equal to negative 2. Now, the most important thing that you need to do is to test your answers. Now, if you test your answers, you will find that if you put a 3 into this particular expression, it will give us a 0. But when we put a negative 2 into this expression, if you put a negative 2, you'll discover that it will give us a 6. Therefore, you'll discover that x is equal to minus 2 is not a solution. Now, what am I saying? Let me show you what I'm saying. Let me create some space here so that I can indicate what I'm trying to say on the other part, which says x minus 2 is not a solution. As I said, I have to end up this lesson because of time. But now let me indicate what I'm trying to say. To always test your answers for a solution. What you do, remember, one answer is x is equal to 3, the other answer is x is equal to minus 2. For this kind of a problem, always try to test your answers. So let's test our answer. We'll come back and put the original question. It's square root of 10 minus 3x minus x is equal to minus 2. Let's start with a 3. It will be square root of 10 minus 3, and then what do I put there? Remember, we said we're starting with 3 minus 3. We must get a negative 2. Now, what is 10 minus 9? Square root of 10 minus 9 is 1. 1 minus 3 is equal to negative 2. This, you can see it is balancing, no problem. Now, let's come and now instead of putting or substituting with a 3, let's substitute with a negative 2. So we are going to have a square root of 10 minus 3. Now what I put a negative 2 minus bracket negative 2 is equal to, it must give me a minus 2. Now what is 10 minus 2? I'll get a square root of 16 minus 2 is plus 4. It must give me a negative 2. Square root of 16, you must know it's a 4. So 4 plus 4 is equal to a negative 2. 8 is equal to a negative 2. And this is not balancing because 8 is not equal to a negative 2. Therefore, x minus 2 is not a solution. That's what I meant when by you must test your solution. Now, with that in mind, I have come to the end of this lesson. I would have loved to work for you the exponents. As you can see, the exponential equations that can also be done on these exponential equations. The other things that can also be done is the logarithms and everything. But now, as I said, you can find more of this solution on, there is a full version of this video. You can request for it at a fraction of a price and we'll be able to send it to you. Now to get the whole video, the question papers as well as memos, because we provide question papers as far as 2014, 2015, 2016 with their memorandums, but as I said, for a fraction of a cost depending at that particular time as prices always change. Send us an email or call us on the information below. You can send us an email on info@ekurhulenitech.co.za, or you can call us on 011-040-7343 and we'll gladly help you for you to have these particular question papers as well as these videos. Now we also have a whole complete video for N3 mathematics for all the modules that will help you to have the foundation of what I'm teaching in these solutions. Now, you don't have to be alone. What you need to do, if you grab the video, you can always rewind and listen again and again. Unlike when a teacher is teaching once and you write them in the book, the problem is when you arrive home, you might not have that voice again talking to you. But because of these videos, we have found many students getting help outside the teacher's room. So you don't have to be in class. You can do it from home to listen again to these videos, and also you can use them while you are attending class in any other college. You can actually purchase these videos so that you can also use them to supplement the one or the other solutions or the other method that your current teacher is using. Now, thank you again for taking the opportunity to listen to this lesson. Should you need more help, please do not hesitate to call us. Thank you.